But Aaron, you brought up the U.S. increasing aid to Israel and Ukraine simultaneously. And we saw one of the most fateful decisions so far in the proxy war and in the Biden administration, in the entire Biden administration, as Biden was in the Amazon jungle and kind of like walking off. He like walks off into the jungle here. He made the decision to authorize the use of ATACMS missiles by Ukraine deep inside Russian territory. Why was this decision made at this juncture, and what will be the ramifications? Will it actually change the shape of the battlefield?
Well, in terms of why this was decided now, I mean, my best answer is that Donald Trump was elected and the Biden team lost. And so they're going out anyway. And this is their pet project. Biden views the Ukraine proxy war as a signature foreign policy achievement. So whether this is a combination of just desperately trying to prolong this war for as long as possible, or just spite, just like trying to show everyone that like Biden's going to do everything he can to escalate a war that many voters rejected. I mean, Trump, whatever his actual plans are, did say he would end this war very quickly within 24 hours. So Biden on his way out the door is just trying to authorize one last escalation, even though just recently before the election, this is late September, the Biden administration, on purpose leaked U.S. intelligence saying that long-range strikes into Ukraine with U.S. weapons were a mistake. This is from the New York Times in late September. U.S. intelligence agencies concluded that granting Ukraine's request to use Western missiles against targets deep in Russia could prompt forceful retaliation while not fundamentally changing the course of the war. That was what was happening in late September when Biden, after receiving these warnings, backed down. But now that the election is over and Biden, I guess, feels like he has nothing left to lose, he's nearing the end of his life anyway, so who cares what happens to the rest of us, who he's leaving behind. He's decided to reverse course and allow these strikes that his own intelligence officials told him won't make a difference to the war and will force a Russian retaliation, which is exactly what has just happened, with Russia launching a very sophisticated weapon at Ukraine. Ukraine says it's an ICBM, which would be unprecedented if it actually is. It's not confirmed yet, though. I'm not actually, it's as we're broadcasting, the nature of the weapon is not confirmed. But whatever it was a very powerful missile. Whether it was an ICBM or something else, it's not confirmed yet. But Russia
it's a message to the West.
It's a message, exactly. And apparently this missile is something that could, if Russia wanted to, carry nuclear weapons. And that is what Russia has done, is sent this message to the West by attacking Dnipro with this. And just yesterday and the day before, basically the Biden administration was shrugging off Russia's potential response. The fact that Russia lowered its threshold for using nuclear weapons, the fact that Russia was promising to respond at the launching of U.S. weapons into Russian territory, which we have to stress requires U.S. participation, because Ukraine can't use these ATACMS missiles on its own. There has to be U.S. support for that. So Russia made a warning, and now they've given the response.
Here's Vladimir Putin on the response. Response to the use of American and British long-range weapons. On November 21st of this year, the Russian armed forces made a combined strike on one of the objects of the defense industrial complex of Ukraine. In combat conditions, was also carried out the testing of one of the latest Russian missile systems of medium range. In this case, with ballistic missile and nuclear-free hypersonic equipment.
So this comes after, the U.S. has led the way in shrugging off fears of an escalation. If you read every single report in the establishment newspapers talking about why Biden has decided to take one more step up the escalation ladder, they always say it's because Putin hasn't forcefully responded in ways that we feared. So why not? And so here's now Putin saying, this is our response. with a hypersonic missile. And, I don't know exactly the category of missile here, but he mentions they're medium range missiles. So I wonder if that is a missile that was previously banned under the INF treaty, which the US pulled out of under Donald Trump.
Yep.
And no one raised a stir about it because that was back when Democrats were obsessed with fantasizing that Trump was a Russian agent. And so no one cared that Trump killed one of the most important nuclear arms control treaties with Russia. So I wonder if this missile that Russia just fired is a direct result of the Russiagate mania, which didn't care about a really important piece of arms control being killed because it was more important to believe that Trump and Putin were really in cahoots.
Here's Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin on calling Putin's bluff.
We've known for several weeks that they were revamping their policy on use of nuclear weapons. As I look at what they're doing, and we watch their strategic forces very carefully, I don't see a change in their strategic force posture, and so we'll continue to remain vigilant in this regard. But at this point, no, I don't see an indication that there's an imminent intent to use nuclear weapons.
Don't you? Isn't that reassuring?
Sure inspires confidence. Yeah, we'll continue to remain vigilant as Russia launches a hypersonic missile into Ukraine. And again, and this is the whole point. Like, personally, am I concerned about nuclear war? I mean, if I were betting, no, I wouldn't bet it. But the point is, why continue to risk it? And also, whatever the U.S. does here in authorizing these escalations, it's Ukraine that will pay the price. Russia, if it wanted to, it could now escalate its steps, even its targets even further. So this was a military site in Dnipro. But what could come next if this keeps happening? If these long range strikes with U.S. assistance and support keep happening, what is Russia going to target next with this incredibly powerful and dangerous weapon? And the Biden administration's whole thing is letting Ukraine pay the price of its own reckless escalation.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't gone beyond the borders of Ukraine. And so what does the Biden administration care about Slavic lives or Slavic infrastructure? I mean, for all they care, the infrastructure will be destroyed, and then new infrastructure will be built and leveraged by BlackRock, the true owners of Ukraine, which effectively represent U.S. capital. That's kind of the point. And we're not there. We're forcing all these vassal states and their stupid bought-off leadership in Sweden and Finland, along with the Baltic states, to join NATO, and they will be next. And here's what Swedes are being told: what to do if nuclear war comes. Hoard food and ignore propaganda. This is from the Times of London. Ignore that propaganda warning you that right now that's warning you that this might be insane and that joining NATO might have got your PM a standing ovation from Biden at the State of the Union, but it's going to get the rest of you killed. And I mean, and alcohol costs so much in Sweden, like you can't really like just get drunk from now until the apocalypse without just paying tons and tons of money. I mean, you have to like sneak across the border to Denmark to even like drink away the pain of knowing that you're now in NATO. Sweden's government has updated its emergency advice to citizens as global tensions rise, telling them that the country will never surrender. We will never surrender until nuclear hellfire pours down on our once Viking realm. I mean, what is wrong with these? I mean, don't they see what they're marching into? And this is after we saw Ursula von der Leyen visit. I think she visited Finland and visited a bunker and said all of Europe needs to bunker down and prepare like Finland is. As more and more European countries, including the UK, are talking about full conscription for their men. We can see Europe marching under US orders into oblivion. I mean, Aaron, I think you said this really shows that the entire war is a US project.